So first we in front of my house. Like I live here on Shear Avenue in the Wheat Wake section in the city of Newark. And this is my water filter that I use, pure water filter that I use in my household that I've been using for at least a year since we first received these filters because I have one of those snake gooseneck sinks that y'all said we can't connect the rigid, so I had to use the regular one. My mother has a regular one, I have this one. You know, I have a lead service line. My house was built, obviously, before 1980. Actually, this house was abandoned. I fixed it up and moved into it, and that's how I got here. But, you know, has a lead service line, and we've been using this filter, and, I'm concerned, just like everybody else, about the filters working, obviously, because I've been using it, cooking with it, so forth and so on. And as I've been telling people recently, my wife is almost 27 weeks, right? So, she's been using this filter for a long time, like using it to cook with, using it to put ice in the freezer, using it to do all kind of stuff. So we bet our own safety and life that this filter is working. Plus, everybody else using the filter. Flint, everybody all across the state of New Jersey, the nation using pure water filters. I mean, we have no expectation that it didn't work. And we still don't know if it works or not, actually. So I guess you could talk about it, Crane, but I know we tested 3 water filters or 3 homes out of 40,000 or 38,000 water filters that have homes, and we found 2 defective and 1 was good. So we just started giving out water to make sure people were okay, precautionary measures until we find out what's going on.
Yes, I mean, we've given out over, you say 38, some people, I could say 40. We've given out a lot of pure water filters. This is a national product that Flint, not only Flint was using, it's used widely around the world. It's rated by the EPA as removing 99.5% of lead. So the city of Newark, as we was conducting a follow-up to look at how much orthophosphate is going through the system from the beginning of the system where the water comes in from our aqueduct to the end of the system, like the West Ward, the Upper West Ward or the farther South Ward going into Hillside, those would be like the end of the system.
What's an orthophosphate though? What is that?
That's the corrosion inhibitor. It's like a food grade additive that's widely used. It's in a Pepsi soda right now. No, any one of those drinks you normally do, it's in it. But we use it for a different technology, just to provide a coating in the pipe, right? The coating in the pipe to reduce lead from leaching into the pipe. So as a part of us doing a study to make sure that the orthophosphate was coming into the system at the rate that we needed it to come in, we tested 3 filters under extreme conditions. And I want to just emphasize when we say extreme conditions, we didn't test them under normal conditions because in normal conditions we know they work. We wanted to go a little above and beyond, to test this filter, I guess we want to say like to a breaking point. And we found out that in 3 homes, 2 of the filters failed and 1 of them passed, and 1 of them passed. So it was actually 2 faucet mount filters, the one like you say your mom had, and it was 1 pitcher, one of the pitchers failed. So immediately, the EPA is working with us. We alerted the public on Tuesday that it failed and being very transparent. People always pick with us and say we're not telling the truth or we're not getting the information out there, but it seems like we would.
Was it Tuesday or Saturday when we alerted the public?
We alerted the public on Saturday. We alerted them on Saturday. When we got the results back, we alerted them on Saturday.
When did you get the results back?
On Friday about 3:30, we alerted them. Discussion, we're going to expand the pool. And we alerted them Saturday around 2 o'clock. We had the press conference.
So for us to be sure, we have to test more water filters.
Oh, we're going to expand the pool.
Yeah,
This can show the residents that the city do a lot of testing. People say we don't do testing. It just shows you we do testing.
Right.
We test stuff when you think
and we did this on our own. Nobody forced us to do these tests.
We're doing this type of test. So it shows you that we're aggressively doing tests just to check, the products we had and how the orthophosphate was working with that system, and it failed. So now today we just agreed on some procedures and protocols of how we'll expand the testing parameters.
When you say we, you mean who?
The US EPA, the NJDP in the city of Newark. So we all came together and agreed on the protocol.
Feds in the state.
The feds in the state and the city.
Yeah.
You know, let's not leave the city out because
Yeah.
we bring this information to the
Right.
state and the city. They don't bring it to us. Because
Right.
people have a mismatch, like a company came in here and went around to houses and just started testing and said we have a lead problem.
Right.
That don't happen. You know,
You
we
know what-
test.
You know what bothers me is like all of the misinformation. Like people out here, I hear people on the internet, they got people waiting outside of press conferences telling like information that's completely false. Like just really, I read something telling people don't come to the VMAs, the Video Music Awards. I mean, these are people who want to see the city fail or want to see me fail, one or the other, who are telling people information that's not real. Like it's just bizarre. I mean, we got a Union County elected official running his mouth, talking about stuff. He has no idea at all what what I want to know is where these people were at a year ago. Like we've been dealing with this stuff, you know, for so long. First of all, every home in Newark does not have a lead service line. Everybody in the city don't have one.
No.
Right. So many people ain't even affected by it anyway.
People on your block don't even have a lead service
So
line.
how many homes have lead service lines?
So in the city, homes, it's about 15,000 homes, 15 to 16,000 homes that have lead service lines,
Okay.
right, that go to homes. It's about 18,000 lead service lines in the entire city water infrastructure. That's the Wanaque and the Wanaque. It's about a little over 14,000 remaining in the Wanaque system. So the lead service line program was not just in the Wanaque system, it's in the Wanaque system too. So it's in all 5 wards. We're working in all 5 wards.
To replace those lead service lines.
If you sign up for the program, you sign up and you give us permission. Just to go back on what the mayor said, some of those elected officials wasn't even around. I'm thankful for the ones that was around when we had to get the amendments on the legislation to use public money on private property. And I think the program, the more we come out and work on the blocks, the people coming out and they're signing up. So I just want to, the misconception that we're not being transparent and we're not sharing information, no one would have this information if we didn't share it.
That's right.
We give it to the state. Right. Say, hey, we tested.
And in the RDC. The feds.
Again, nobody wouldn't have it if we didn't give it to the state. And then we have I remember Channel 4 came in maybe about 5 or 6 months ago and they tested all the rec centers.
Right.
They don't give out positive information.
Right.
I was listening to the radio this morning, or maybe it was yesterday morning, and I think Charlemagne said, the truth is boring. Right. The theatrics about the lie, everybody want to hear the lie.
If they would have tested the rec centers and when they came back with high levels of lead, it would have been all over the place. But the fact that it didn't have high levels of lead, nobody said nothing about it.
I was in my car and I said, man, Charlemagne, he said, the truth is boring. People want to hear the theatrics and the drama around a lie. So the lie get a lot of attention.
So restaurants don't have lead service lines?
McDonald's ain't got a lead service line.
Right. Bodega ain't got a lead service line. Prudential Arena.
Prudential, a brand new building, just was built 2007, 2006.
People telling people don't come to the Prudential Arena because the water is bad. It's terrible. And people who are going around telling people that the source water is bad. What do I mean when I say source water? Like the water in the reservoir, right?
Okay, so the Newark system was built off the New York system. The New York, they call their system the Delaware Aqueduct or the Catskills Aqueduct. So it was similar model. So ours is the Wanaque and the Wanaque. So we have 5 reservoirs that hold about 15 billion gallons of water that feeds into the city. So it goes to our treatment plant. Our source water is monitored and checked daily. Lead don't come into the source water, not the source water that we come into our pipes. Coming down that 24 miles of aqueducts that comes into the city, there's no lead in it. There's no lead when it gets in the city's water main. Only when it gets into those lead service lines that feed properties like yours, that's why you got the picture.
Yeah.
Like that lead service line is probably the size of a quarter or a 50-cent piece. That's a lead line. So, it's amazing that, we walk up right now and drink out of a hydrant.
Right.
Kids playing in the hydrant. You can't wash up and get lead because you're washing up with water.
But what do people get? I don't understand what they gain by telling everybody like the water is poisonous. Like, and they get upset when we try to correct them and say the water is not poisonous. They say, oh, you're giving people misinformation when you tell them the water is not poisonous. Well, you're giving them misinformation when you say the water is poisonous, because an open-ended kind of statement like that without context is incorrect, right? And it's dangerous. It's a public health issue because the person next door, water might be fine. My water might be. Those people over there got a brand new house. It is highly unlikely they have a lead service line.
Copper pipe
Right.
feeding the house.
You know, when I bought this house, we had a lead service line. I'm sure all these people up and down, the Weak Wake section got them, because the houses are old.
And that was it was a common practice in construction during that time, the late 1800s until the mid 40s, that lead was what they used. It's flexible, it was easy to put in. And around the mid 40s, they started using copper because they started using lead for the war. They needed all the metals to go, fight the war. World War II was around that time. In 1952, February the 10th, 1952, Newark banned the use of lead service lines in homes that were constructed after that. You had to use copper. Although it was used earlier than that, but we made it an ordinance, or they banned it and said, hey, you got to put in copper. The federal government banned lead solder in 1986. So the new homes that's being built in the 80s and the 90s, we know they're using copper pipes because it was banned, lead was banned by the federal government. But we know in 1953, Newark said you got to put copper in.
Right.
So we were in the forefront back then, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So if you're concerned, my mom calls me every night now. She wants to know what's going on, right? So for the resident, what is it they need to know? One, how do you know if you're affected or not? If it's your household.
So if you really want to know how you're affected, you can call the water department at 973-733-6303 and ask us to come out and do an inspection and get a free water test. It's free. It don't cost you nothing but a phone call.
And to see if you got a lead pipe.
We can see if you got a lead pipe. We're gonna do an inspection. It take 5 minutes. Give you inform you information about what you need to know about lead and get an inspection. If you're concerned about your kids, go get a blood test.
So then there's also a website that has all the addresses in a database system, and you can type in your address, right?
Yes, you can go to...
What's the website's title again?
You can go to NewarkLeadServiceLine.com. Type in NewarkLeadServiceLine.com. You go on the right site, type in your address, and they can say you have a lead service line. Right then and there, whether you're the landlord or the resident, right? 2-family, 3-family, and 4-family. You're concerned, either call us or go on NewarkLeadServiceLine.com and look up and see if your address is in the affected area.
So we're saying that if you have a lead service line and you're in the Wanaque area, you can go into any of the 4 distribution sites in the city, which are 3 rec centers in the health department, and pick up cases of bottled water.
Yes.
But what is that? What is the difference? Like the reporter today was trying to beat me up to ask me what was Wanaque, what the difference. There's some high readings in Wanaque. What's the difference between Wanaque and Wanaque?
So, Newark, like I said, is one of the older cities. We were the first, Newark used to have a lot of reservoirs in the city. 350 years old or more. Depends how you count the numbers, right? So Newark had reservoirs inside the city. So the last one that we closed down in the 70s was right there on 9th Street in South Orange Avenue. They actually called it the Reservoir Village. People don't know why they call it the Reservoir Housing or the Reservoir Village. That was an open water reservoir.
Wow.
You can walk by and see water in there and throw water in there, stick a cup in there and maybe drink some water. There was treated water, there was drinkable water. And the EPA at the time made us close it down. So when you say the Wanaque system, we started to find out that having reservoirs inside the system was easy to be contaminated. They bought land further up in the mountains, right? And they bought Newark was one of the first, as like Jersey City, having the Booton Reservoir, we bought the Wanaque Reservoir system, which is about 5 man-made lakes, right? That we collect rainwater in, right? Surface water, call that surface water. And in the early 20s, they built another addition, because at one time, Newark population was about 350,000 people. So the city of Newark was 350,000 people.
1 point more.
And people fail to forget that some of these other towns, Bloomfield, Belleville, West Orange, they were Newark at one time, which could have been 1 million people. Parts of Elizabeth were Newark. So they built the Wanaque reservoir system, right? Wanaque. So in the city, Wanaque system, as the East Ward started to develop with a lot of industry, they had a separate system to bring water in. We wanted 2 water systems to bring water in, so the city would always have an adequate supply of water, right, in the time of drought or emergency.
Right.
That's why we got 2 systems.
And the Wanaque system is not having the same problems that we're having.
No, the Wanaque system is even bigger. So the Wanaque system just don't.
I never knew that.
No, yeah, of course. It don't just feed Newark. It feeds parts of Elizabeth. It feeds Bayonne, Kearney, East Newark, Harrison.
So what about people who say
Parson
they got high readings in Wanaque in their house? Like some people got high lead exceedances in their house.
So the lead and copper rule allows you to have what came in the early 90s, 90th percentile, right? So you don't expect that no one may never have a high lead hit, right? You can, if you've seen Suez Water had a hit maybe in December around the same time we were giving out filters, right? Suez, they feed Hallsworth plant, 900 to 800,000 customers.
800,000, right?
800,000 people. You see them in Newark, right? We probably have about 40,000 people affected. But in saying that, they had a high lead hit. So you required to do, they tested 110 homes and they had about 11 of them that exceeded. But in July, this July, the latest readings, they under. They under by like 0.2%. So they tested at 15 parts per billion and you exceed at 15.4 parts per billion. So they don't have exceedance right now, but they're that close. So they need one more of those periods like that, under 15 or lower, and they'll be in compliance.
Right.
But they got one monitoring period in compliance, but you know.
And that's what's going on in
So in the Wanaque system, you can have a hit for a variety of different reasons. Somebody could have just changed a new faucet. They could have got rid of an old faucet, put a new faucet in, did any type of plumbing in, that may trigger, you know, a lead, right? And it could be in a home that had a lead pipe or lead solder. You aggravated the solder. That doesn't mean the corrosion inhibitor isn't working. It means that you may have did a modification that could have triggered the hit.
Right.
Or you could have just said, you know what? I want a filter. You know, I had people that was mad at me. Me and you did the community meetings in the East Ward, and they were adamant about getting the filter, even after the testing showed that
they don't have
right. So they get a test a month later.
Well, that's what people.
And they had a hit.
That's what they telling us. NRD, give water to everybody in the city. Well, that's first of all, it's not economical for us to give water to everybody in the city. We just don't have it like that. And two, everybody don't have a problem. And to project that everybody has a problem is not only incorrect, right? To me, is unconscionable that you would put that out there, because then you create a state of panic. You create a health emergency. Because honestly, the more people use the bottled water, the longer it's going to take us to get the fix in terms of what we're trying to get the pipes to work or get our pipes changed, all those other kind of things. So we got to be mindful of that too.
And why is that the case? Why is it that, you know, we like talk more about that? Why is it important that we have to have water circulating in people's homes and through the pipes?
So, you know, and I'm gonna just go back. It showed two things. One, when we said I tested these filters under extreme conditions, that means we had the water stagnant from 5 to 11 hours.
It was sitting there.
Nobody not using the water is actually sitting in the lead pipe, right? So that means the inhibitor not moving through the lead is not moving through the pipe to coat it because you're not using water. As you use water, whether it's taking a shower, doing some laundry, using the bathroom, flushing the tank, brushing your teeth, you allow a new water to come in with the inhibitor to start coating the pipes, right? Like insulating, putting that little coating around the pipes. If you're not using water, because we're giving out bottled water now, that means the inhibitor just standing in the city's water main, right? Although we are flushing, but we're not in your house where it's coming through your house. It's coming through the city's water pipes, but it's not coming through your house pipe. So the more you use it, you know, the normal use that you would do, right? The normal use you would do, you're allowing fresh water to constantly come into your house 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 or 20 times a day, dozens of times a day, with the new inhibitor just, you know, absorbing your pipes. You should want to always do that.
So what about anybody they don't know? We don't know nothing about all this stuff you're talking about. Orthophosphate, this inhibitor, that, this thing, this, that thing, that. All they know is what they hear on the news. The water is poison. I can't drink the water. I can't go to restaurants. The VMA should be canceled. It should be a state of emergency because the Newark's water is just killing us. And the city won't tell us the water is killing us. And they got that all over the place. One person had on the internet this morning, I had to correct it. She was saying, if the water wasn't poisonous, why are we delivering bottled water to the city of Newark? And I had to correct her. You know, one, the water at the reservoir is not poisonous. Right. When the water gets in your lead service line, lead comes from the pipe into your water.
You need a source. That's the source.
And what we're trying to, this thing that you're talking about, corrosion control, is what we're putting in the water so the lead won't come from your pipe to get into your water. Right. When that becomes effective, then we should see some levels going down. We should see the things going down. And we have to give people water because we're not sure. We're testing to see if these things that I'm using in my house,
that's nationally used,
that's used by like millions of people across the country, if it's actually working for us, right? And what we want to do is make sure you're safe. Then sorry, Because we could test it without giving you nothing. And, you know, a month from now say, oh, we found out that the pure things don't work. We want to give you water while we're testing it to see if it actually works.
So it's
and not everybody, because everybody don't got a lead service line.
Everybody don't have a lead service line, and they want to filter, but they don't have a lead. It's interesting because a friend of mine called me. He's an engineer in another town, and he says, why are you guys always letting them know what you're doing? And I'm saying, why shouldn't we? He's like, y'all creating problems for yourself. I'm like, we transparent. You know, we want to show you that we're not hiding anything. Yeah, but you, look, they beating you, they dogging you up in the media. And I go back to says, negativity sells. You know, the truth don't get no support.
That's right, brother. I mean, and then if you don't do it, then when people find out months from now that it was an issue and you didn't do it, then that's another issue.
Right.
Right? But look, I gotta tell people, we live here. I'm not visiting the city, I live here. So I gotta tell people.
We've been here.
Yeah, for all my life, right? So if telling people is telling my family and friends who live here, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm telling my neighbors, my friends, my family, everybody in this community, residents, that this is going on. And I'm not trying to alarm you or scare you or make you never use the water again in your life. You just need the right information. Unfortunately, there are people who, and you know who these people, everybody knows these people are. They use whatever negativity they can to expand it, to blow it up, to create an issue. Because if there was no issue, then it's nothing for them to do. That's their job. Their job is to get on TV and tell everybody the world is going to end and Newark is going to end it and the mayor is responsible for it, and scream and holler about it. But they have never given out a filter. They're not at these stations trying to help us give out water. They don't have one plan for us to fix this thing at all, zero, right? They haven't went and got any money for us to fix these lead service lines. We did all this on our own with the help of a few people from the state and help people from the federal government, right? That's it. Nope, none of these people have said one thing, and they won't say nothing tomorrow. When you ask them about it, they still not gonna say anything.
But man, some of them don't live in the city.
Right, some of them don't live here.
You know, a large majority of them, they just come
Yeah,
in.
well, the people who don't live here, that's done. I'm talking about the people who actually are in this city that are responsible for making sure their neighbors know the facts. And not the facts of how they see it, but the facts of how they are. And they're creating hysteria in the city. Like people, what happens when people don't go to restaurants? They lose money. Restaurants lose money, they close. People lose their jobs. People lose their jobs, we stop getting tax money for the city, right? People don't own homes. You take the city backwards. You tell the Video Music Awards, who would never come to the city years before, decide we're gonna come to Newark now, don't come because we have 18,000 lead service lines in the city that are experiencing exceedances, right? You're telling people don't come to the city of Newark because it's contaminated and we need a revolution because of 18,000 homes. And I don't want to belittle it. You know, what I'm saying is people need to put it in perspective, right? Because anybody that got an exceedance is a problem.
Right. And
that we need to be trying to address all of it in a comprehensive way. But we can't lie to people just to get them come to your meetings. If you can't get people to come to your meetings without lying, then you shouldn't have no meetings.
You know, my other thing is they get, the people in the community, they really want to help. They should have people sign up to have their lead service line replaced.
That's it.
You know, instead of giving the residents the negative information or the wrong information, hey, you know what? The city, did you register to have your lead service line replaced?
Hell, even if you talk bad about the city, tell them to go get the lead service line replaced. Say the mayor's terrible, he's horrible.
Hey, but sign up for the program.
Sign up, get a lead service line replaced, right? At least do that. Or, oh, the mayor is terrible, he's horrible. Here's some filters and some water. As a matter of fact, NRDC, who's suing us, was giving out pure water filters too.
Oh, that ain't a topic right now.
Right?
That ain't on the news.
Everybody's giving out these pure water filters. Everybody. They're giving them out. Everybody is.
They go back to what Sharman said, that's not a headline.
I mean, it's bizarre. I know we've been talking for a long time. It's a very emotional topic for me, man. And I just get upset when people try to make it seem like we're trying to trick them or fool them or giving them misinformation or lying to them for the benefit of whatever it is you're trying to do. Run for office, stop people from putting you out of office, getting people to come to your organizational meetings, making yourself popular on Instagram or Facebook. I mean, all of this stuff, it just burns me up because I was born and raised here. I live here my entire life. I have done nothing in this city but try to improve it. And people know that, right? And the reality is, I got a lead service line. I had a lead service line. And I've been using this, right? I've been using this filter. And it's important to me. And I keep saying it because it's in my mind. And it might not rightly be in my mind, but these people put it in my mind. So I know they're putting it in everybody else's mind. You know what I'm saying? It's in my mind, the doubt about what's going on. The concept that, you know, maybe my wife who's pregnant has been drinking lead. That's in my mind. It's in her mind, you know what I mean? So I know it's in other people's minds, and it's serious enough for us to have the right information, to act correctly, to get this thing fixed, and not listen to people out here trying to use this for their own personal benefit, man. You know, I heard this fool on NJTV running around talking about what's going on in Newark. Ain't never stepped foot in this town for nothing. Never had a conversation with me, never talked to me about anything, never offered us a filter, a water. Legislators who sit on the legislature have never advocated for us to get money to change lead service lines. So, I mean, if you're trying to run for office, that's cool. Don't use me to do it.
So, you know, the city's done a good job of like creating any possible question or all questions that we get. We like put it onto a sheet. We got like 9 pages at this point in time, like frequently asked questions and answers. And to your point, there's, you know, 18,000 households affected in the city with lead service lines, and then 15,000 are that in the Wanaque system that, you know, are waiting for the corrosion systems to be in place and therefore are using bottled water at the time. Which means that there's almost over 200,000 other people that aren't affected. So how do we arm them with the information so that they can start advocating?
Well, you have to be careful because some households have more than one person in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's like when people say you only gave out 40,000 filters. Well, if you got 2 people in the house, there's about 80,000 people that are affected by that, right? Yeah, so.
But the point is there's way more people that are not affected by this.
Oh,
Right.
of course.
That we can
Absolutely.
arm with the right information to get it done. So they can go to newarkleadserviceline.com to find all the information that they need. They can go to the city's website to find information.
That's the point there. There are more people in the city who are not affected by this than are.
So, you know, man, I think a lot, Tyson, you said this is a good question. I think a lot of people play on the city's ability to communicate. We're doing a great communication job. We do quarterly mailings. We do all type of notices, right? And a lot of times when you look at that mail, we just, we throw it in the garbage, right?
Right.
So then when the news is saying the water's contaminated, you don't know what's going on because a lot of us don't read it.
Right.
Not that you can't read, we just don't read it. We don't pay attention to it. So we having press conferences when we on Facebook. We did a teletown hall last night. Or we go out to things the people assembly saying we having a community meeting, or we do the robocalls. People don't pay attention, but we are educating the people. If they listen to the positive, like I said, the positive stuff we don't want to hear. So the city of Newark is calling you, we hang up. No, we answer the phone, we hang up real quick. That's the message that need to be listened to.
Engage
Take
the
that 30 seconds to hear the message. Take that 2 minutes to read that little pamphlet that just came. Think facts you should know about your water, right?
Y'all have a duty to be responsible.
Just read it. So when somebody come in and giving you misinformation, you can say, oh, that ain't what's going on. You know, it says it right here.
All right.
It says it, they letting us know what's going on. We should be alarmed that, you know, the media coming into our city, right, a year later, acting like something just happened.
So let's just end it and tell me how long this thing gonna take, man. How long is it gonna take us to get that out of this situation we in?
You know, right now we expanding the testing pool, right? We're expanding it, we just doubled down on the criteria everybody agreed to. We're expanding the parameters of the testing pool, get the accurate number, right?
To see if the filter's working.
To see if the filter's working. The permanent solution, we already started that process in March, removing lead services. In May,
remove the lead service lines.
In May, we already started putting the orthophosphate in, right? So, you know, we need people to use water, let water move in.
So if I got a lead service line, how I get my lead service line replaced?
Go on to newarkleadserviceline.com, right? And see if you eligible first, or to have your line replaced by seeing if you actually have a lead service line. Call us so we can do the visual inspection, and you can fill out the paper on the site if you're the landlord. And if you're a resident, and we did that inspection for you, and once we give you the information, call your landlord, tell them to register for the program.
Yeah.
So, because I want to explain this to people. You don't have to pay nothing up front. We're not asking you to give you no money up front, right? We're saying up to $1,000. And phase 1 started in March of 2019.
Now, how many have we done?
We've done a little over 700, and it's going to end in March of 2020, right? So 60 days after that, we're going to give you a bill, right? And then you got 12 months to pay that bill. So you may come back and say, hey, you owe us $380. You can pay it in full. We would like you to pay it in full if you can. But if not, you got 12 months to pay it.
So how long is it going to take for the new inhibitor or the new thing to coat the pipes.
Well, 6
so
to
the
8
lead
months,
won't-
we should start seeing the results that we want to see.
Are we seeing some results now?
Yeah, we're on pace. Right, we're very optimistic, but we're on pace to seeing that, hey, the orthophosphate is in the system, right? So as data comes in monthly, right? So that's why we say 6 to 8 months, we're starting to see more data. We're still aggressively doing testing, right? We're still offering free testing. We still got free water testing, free lead service line inspection, and the free testing with Dr. Wade and them over at the health department. They're doing a fantastic job, having kids come in and get
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Wade, to Commissioner Persicelli over at the health department. I just want to give us a shout out for the help that they're doing, and even Commissioner McCabe and
DP.
they've been working DP. Everybody's been hanging out with us.
And shout out to OEM, man.
OEM,
shout out
yeah.
to OEM. We got to say, shout out to the public safety department, the OEM, because they boots on the ground, helping us get this water out into the city at all the distribution centers.
I appreciate y'all, man.
And all that staff that everybody don't see. So that the senior staff that people don't see, that's around the round table early in the morning, late at night, we got to shout them out too, because they're doing a fantastic job.
And all the residents that's been helping out, stepping up to the plate, delivering water, helping us pass out water.
And all those
helping us
residents that's
pass out
coming in with the
filters.
seniors and just helping
Bring them
helping
down
us,
there.
bringing them to pick up water. And
Who not waiting outside to
Carrying
talk to CNN.
no, we're not waiting out.
All right,
And a
man.
big shout out to the residents.
God, Lord help
I just
us.
want to end with this. A big shout out. I seen a gentleman on NBC this morning, and everybody was talking negative. And he was like, "Hey, they didn't create this problem. You gotta give them time to fix it. You give everybody else time to get it together." So a shout out to the people that's really understanding what's going on and want to give the positive thing, because the news
Appreciate
don't
it.
always show the positivity.
Hey, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Thanks.